Hello everyone, my name is Chen, and today I'm going to go through the concept of exception and exception handling in Java. So, what is exceptions? Exceptions are basically problems that occur during the execution of the program. What's the consequence of the exceptions? When exception occurs, the program or the application will terminate abnormally. So basically there are two types of exception. The first one is check exceptions. This type of exception normally occur during the compile time, and therefore it's also called compile time exceptions. This type of exception is basically caused by programmers. Let's say I'm a stupid programmer and I want to open a file that did not exist in the directory. If I run my program, I will get the exceptions. In this case, I will have a file not found exceptions. Now, we also have an unchecked exception. This type of exception is normally caused by user. And this type of exception normally occurs during type of execution. Let's say I'm not a smart user, and I want to divide an integer by 0. In this case, I will receive a arithmetic exceptions. So at this point, we know how to deal with it. We know what the exceptions are, and we know why we have exceptions. Now let's talk about how to deal with those exceptions. Here, we have two methods of handling exception. The first method is using the combination of keywords, try, catch, and finally. Notice that try, catch, and finally are all lower cases. Here in this sample code, I have a three block: try block, catch block, and finally block. In the try block, I put some protected code in it. In this case, I'm going to put some code that opens a file that did not exist in the directory, which will definitely cause an exception. And then I have a catch block to catch that exceptions. Notice that in the catch block, I have to feed in an argument, basically an exception argument in it. In this catch block, I'm going to simply print out file not found. Lastly, we have a finally block. Finally block is somewhat interesting because finally block will occur whether exception occurred or not. So in this finally block, I have a final statement. I simply print out final statement. So once I run the program, I will have final not found printed on the screen. I will also have final statement printed on the screen. The file not found statement comes from the catch block. The catch block detects the exception and print out that statement. The finally block is coming from the finally block because finally block always got executed no matter what, and that's the reason why I print out final statement. This kind of method, this try-catch method, is basically saying I have to deal with this exceptional immediately. So which brings us to the second method. In this method, we're going to use throws and throw. So assume I have a method that will potentially contain an exception. And I don't want to deal with it immediately just as the try and catch. So what do? We use the method. We use the keyword throw and throws. So I have a method called test. Static void test throws exceptions. So notice that I use throws in the declaration of the method. In that method, I explicitly invoke an exception using keyword throws. Throw new exceptions. So I'm done with that method. I have a main method to test it. In the main method, I have a try catch block. In the try block, I explicitly invoke that method, which contains exceptions. And the catch block, I'm trying to deal with that exceptions. In that catch block, I will simply print out catching exceptions. So once I run the program, the system will print out catching exception because the main method picked up the exception from text. So at this point, we covered everything I want to talk about today. We talk about the definition of the exception. We talk about the category of the exception. And most importantly, we talk about how to handle those exceptions. This concludes today's video.